What if I told you that everything you've heard in the last few days about Edgar Lungu's body might not be true? Across Zambia, rumors have been spreading like wildfire. Some said the body was secretly moved at night. Others whispered about secret burials outside the country. And yet, silence from a family only fueled the fire. But today, that silence has been broken. The Lungu family has finally spoken out, and their words have shocked the nation. Is Edgar Lungu's body still exactly where it was? Or is this response another layer in a political drama that refuses to end? Stay with us, because in the next few minutes, we reveal the truth behind the rumors and why this burial mystery could reshape Zambia's political future forever. Breaking news! Rumors have been spreading across Zambia about the movement of Edgar Lungu's body, but today, the family has finally responded. In this exclusive report, we uncover the shocking truth behind the rumors, why Edgar Lungu's burial has become one of Zambia's most controversial topics, how the former First Family is reacting to public pressure, what this means for President Hakainde Hichilema, HH, and Zambia's fragile political climate. From Lusaka to Pretoria, the mystery surrounding Lungu's body continues to shake Africa's political stage. Stay with us till the end, because what the family just revealed may change everything. The rumor that shook Zambia, it began with a whisper. A single story spreading faster than fire on dry grass. Edgar Lungu's body has been moved. At first, it was only chatter on social media. Anonymous accounts claimed to have insider knowledge. Screenshots circulated in WhatsApp groups. By the next morning, radio stations and street corner debates had turned it into the nation's most urgent question. Where is the body of Zambia's former president? For many Zambians, this was not just gossip. It was an attack on memory, on legacy, and on trust. Edgar Lungu had been more than a politician. He was a man who shaped the nation's direction, for better or worse. And now, even in death, he seemed unable to rest in peace. But where did the story begin? Some point to an unnamed online blogger, others to political operatives who saw the perfect chance to stir the pot. What is certain is that the body move rumor carried with it an explosive undertone, suspicion of state interference. If the government was indeed involved, what did they have to hide? The rumor tapped into deeper fears, the idea that even in death, politics in Zambia is never free from controversy. In markets and buses, people argued whether the family had lost control over Lungu's remains. In opposition strongholds, the whisper grew louder. Was this HH's doing? But the family was not silent for long. Within hours, an official statement emerged. Edgar Lungu's relatives pushed back hard, calling the rumors false, misleading, and disrespectful. The body, they said, had not been moved. Yet, the denial did little to calm the storm. Instead, it raised new questions. Why did the rumor take hold so quickly? And why did so many believe it? As Zambia struggled to separate fact from fiction, one thing became clear. This was bigger than a simple misunderstanding. The rumor had opened a window into the nation's deepest anxieties about power, trust, and truth itself. And as the episode closes, we are left with a haunting question. If a single rumor can shake an entire nation, what happens when the truth finally comes out? The family strikes back. The storm of rumors was reaching its peak. Markets buzzed, churches whispered, and even the corridors of Parliament echoed with the same burning question. Had Edgar Lungu's body really been moved? For days, silence from the family fueled speculation. Some believed they were hiding something. Others thought they were too broken to respond. But then, the silence shattered. In a carefully worded statement, the Lungu family pushed back against the rumors with force. They called the reports malicious, misleading, and an insult to their grief. Edgar Lungu, they insisted, had not been moved. His body remained where it had always been. But while the denial was strong, its reception was complicated. For some, it brought comfort. Supporters praised the family's courage to defend the dignity of their loved one. But for others, it sounded defensive, even desperate. Why, they asked, had it taken so long for the family to speak? And why release the statement only after the rumor had already spread like wildfire? Behind closed doors, tensions were said to be high. Family members debated how much to reveal. Should they share details of Lungu's final resting place? Or would that only invite more intrusion? Every word carried weight. Every sentence could either calm or ignite the nation further. Meanwhile, the political world watched closely. Was the family's statement merely about protecting dignity, or was it also a challenge to the state? To many Zambians, the denial was not just a family defense, but a warning shot. Leave us out of political games. And yet, the rumors did not die. If anything, the family's denial sparked new debates. Could this be a cover-up? Were there cracks inside the Lungu household itself? Some even suggested that not all family members agreed on how to handle the truth. The episode left Zambia divided, caught between loyalty to the grieving family and suspicion that the story was bigger than anyone dared to admit. One thing was clear: this was no longer just about a body. It was about power, image, and the fight to control history. A coffin surrounded by secrets for most Zambians, the coffin of Edgar Lungu should have been a symbol of closure, a chance to say goodbye to a man who shaped the nation's destiny. But instead, it became the center of mystery, whispers, and suspicion. Every detail surrounding the late president's body was shrouded in secrecy. From the exact location of the coffin to the limited access given to visitors, nothing seemed straightforward. Even close allies of the former president admitted they had seen little beyond carefully managed appearances. Why so much control? Why so much silence? Some believed it was a matter of dignity, the family protecting their loved one from political exploitation. Others suspected a more sinister reason, that the coffin itself had become a tool in Zambia's larger battle over truth. Was it simply grief driving this secrecy, or was someone deliberately hiding something? Eyewitnesses told conflicting stories. A morgue worker whispered about unusual security measures. A church member recalled that even priests were kept at arm's length. And opposition supporters insisted that the secrecy pointed to manipulation at the highest level. The more guarded the coffin became, the louder the speculation grew. Was Edgar Lungu really inside? Had his body been moved without public knowledge? And if so, who had the power to make that decision? For many, the coffin became a metaphor for Zambia itself, a nation where the truth is often sealed away, guarded, and revealed only in fragments. In life, Lungu was a polarizing figure. In death, he remained just as divisive. As mourners gathered outside guarded doors, chants of respect mingled with demands for transparency. The coffin was no longer just a final resting place. It was a stage where grief, politics, and power collided. And yet, amid the secrecy, one undeniable fact remained. The coffin, whether opened or sealed, was not just about Edgar Lungu's body. It was about the nation's trust. Because in Zambia, the real question was never just where the coffin was kept. It was, what secrets does it carry? Journalists on the hunt when the rumors refused to die, Zambia's journalists stepped into the storm. For them, the mystery of Edgar Lungu's body was not just a story, it was history unfolding in real time. From Lusaka to Pretoria, reporters scrambled for leads. Some trailed hearses and family convoys, hoping to capture a glimpse of the coffin. Others dug into morgue records, searching for inconsistencies. Each clue, no matter how small, felt like a piece of a puzzle too big to ignore. But uncovering the truth was no simple task. Access to official information was tightly restricted. Hospitals and funeral homes cited confidentiality. Government officials gave cautious statements, speaking in circles rather than straight answers. Even within the media fraternity, some wondered, was someone deliberately feeding misinformation to create chaos? Photographs began to surface online, blurred images of what appeared to be a coffin, guarded by men in plain clothes. But were they authentic or staged? Journalists debated fiercely. Every newsroom in Zambia seemed to ask the same question: were they chasing the truth or chasing shadows? In South Africa, where the Lungu family had close ties, investigative reporters dug deeper. They interviewed sources who claimed to have seen unusual diplomatic interventions. One whispered of state involvement, another hinted at internal family disagreements. Yet, none of the accounts matched perfectly. The story was messy, and that's what made it explosive. The public, meanwhile, hungered for answers. Every new article, every leaked picture, every broadcast interview added fuel to the fire. For the first time in years, Zambia's media landscape felt like a battleground of facts versus speculation. But with every revelation came greater risk. Some reporters faced threats. Others were accused of dishonoring the dead. The line between journalism and politics blurred as every headline became ammunition in Zambia's larger struggle over power and memory. And so the hunt for the truth continued, relentless, dangerous, and unresolved. Because in this unfolding drama, journalists were not just storytellers. They were detectives, truth seekers, and sometimes unwilling participants in a game far bigger than themselves. The Embassy Park debate in Zambia, where a leader is buried, is never just about tradition. It is about legacy, symbolism, and power. And for Edgar Lungu, The question of his final resting place sparked a debate that threatened to divide a nation already on edge. The government's position seemed clear. Former presidents deserved to be buried at Embassy Park, the official burial site reserved for heads of state. To the ruling establishment, this was not just protocol, it was history. Each grave there was a monument to Zambia's democratic journey, and Lungu's place among them, they argued, was undeniable. But for the Lungu family, the issue was far more complicated. Some family members argued for privacy, a burial away from politics and media scrutiny. Others insisted that Edgar Lungu should rest at Embassy Park, not for the government, but for the people who had supported him for years. The debate grew heated, spilling into the public sphere. Supporters of the former president rallied, demanding that he be honored with the dignity of state burial. Opposition voices, however, questioned whether he should be celebrated at all, pointing to the corruption scandals and controversies that defined his time in office. Even within Parliament, the debate turned fiery. Was this a moment to honor a man who had led the country, or to confront the divisions he left behind? Outside the political halls, ordinary Zambians weighed in. Some saw Embassy Park as sacred ground, a unifying space above partisan battles. Others feared that burying Lungu there would only deepen divisions, transforming a site of national pride into a battlefield of memory. Caught in the middle was the Lungu family, balancing grief with pressure from every side. Their decision carried consequences not just for themselves, but for Zambia's image on the world stage. Because in the end, the Embassy Park debate was not just about where Edgar Lungu would be laid to rest. It was about who controls the story of Zambia's past and who gets to write its future. HH and the shadow of power, no figure loomed larger over the controversy surrounding Edgar Lungu's death than his successor, President Hakainde Hichilema. To his supporters, HH represented a new chapter for Zambia: reform, accountability, and stability. But to Lungu's loyalists, he was the man who dethroned their leader and, in their eyes, humiliated him in exile. In this atmosphere of suspicion, every move HH made was interpreted through the lens of rivalry. When rumors spread that Lungu's body had been moved, whispers quickly turned toward State House. Was HH's government behind the secrecy? Had officials attempted to control the narrative for political gain? For many Zambians, the idea was not unthinkable. After all, power struggles in Africa have often extended beyond the grave. The president, for his part, maintained silence. His spokespeople urged respect for the family and cautioned against politicizing a period of mourning. But the absence of a direct response left room for speculation, and speculation thrived. Opposition figures seized the moment. Some accused HH of using the burial issue as a way to assert dominance, to remind Zambia that even in death, Lungu's fate lay in the hands of the state. Others suggested the opposite, that HH was intentionally distancing himself, allowing the rumors to spiral without his intervention. But there was another layer. Diplomats and insiders noted that HH was in a delicate position internationally. To be seen interfering in the burial could harm Zambia's image abroad, casting doubt on its democratic maturity. To remain distant, however, risked alienating sections of the population who still saw Lungu as their champion. Caught between politics, diplomacy, and the raw emotion of a grieving nation, HH walked a thin line. His silence became its own kind of statement, a reminder of how power often operates not through action, but through restraint. In the end, the controversy was not just about Edgar Lungu's body. It was about HH's shadow, how deeply it fell over Zambia's politics, its grief, and its future. Rumor as a weapon in Zambia's fragile political climate, a single rumor can act like a match dropped into dry grass. The story of Edgar Lungu's moved body proved exactly that. To some, the rumor was nothing more than careless gossip, the natural consequence of grief, confusion, and a nation hungry for answers. But to others, it was something far more dangerous, a weapon deliberately crafted and unleashed to destabilize. Political analysts quickly pointed out a pattern. Rumors like these rarely emerge by accident. They spread too fast, too wide, and with too much coordination. Within hours of the first whispers, social media accounts, many linked to political factions, had amplified the story. Carefully phrased posts, repeated talking points, and selective leaks gave the rumor the appearance of truth. But who stood to gain? For the opposition, the narrative fueled distrust in the government, casting HH and his administration as shadowy figures meddling even in death. For the ruling party, countering the rumor became a chance to brand the opposition as reckless, exploiting grief for political mileage. Either way, the real victim was truth itself. experts warned of the long-term consequences. When rumors are weaponized, they do more than mislead, they corrode public faith. People stop trusting official statements. Families lose privacy, and the nation begins to fracture along lines of belief rather than fact. Ordinary Zambians felt this tension firsthand. In markets and buses, arguments erupted. Some swore the rumor was true, citing sources. Others insisted it was a lie, planted to stir chaos. In both camps, certainty ran deep, but evidence was scarce. This was the power of rumor, not to prove, but to divide. As the days passed, it became clear that the story of Lungu's body was no longer just about mourning. It was about how words, even unverified, could be sharpened into weapons, and how easily those weapons could wound a nation already on edge. And so, the episode leaves us with a chilling truth. In modern Zambia, rumor is not just noise. It is a strategy. Truth in the balance by now, one fact was undeniable. Edgar Lungu's death had become more than a family tragedy. It had become a national trial, not in the courts, but in the court of public opinion. At the heart of it all lay a single question: what was the truth? The family insisted the body had not been moved. The government urged the nation to remain calm. Journalists chased every lead, while opposition figures amplified suspicion. Yet, despite all the noise, clarity never came. Instead, Zambia found itself trapped in a cycle of denial, doubt, and distrust. In many ways, this was bigger than Lungu. It was about Zambia itself, about whether a nation could still believe in its institutions, its leaders, and its storytellers. When the truth is uncertain, every version of reality becomes possible. And in that uncertainty, power thrives. For Lungu's supporters, the unresolved mystery became a symbol of injustice. For his critics, it was a reminder that legacies are never clean, never simple. For ordinary citizens, it was exhausting, a constant tug-of-war between rumor and fact, faith and skepticism. In moments like these, nations face a choice. Do they allow uncertainty to divide them, or do they confront it together? Zambia, still healing from political wounds, stood at a crossroads. The handling of one man's death had become a test of democracy, transparency, and unity. And yet, perhaps the most haunting truth was this: Edgar Lungu's coffin may one day be lowered into the ground, but the questions it raised would not rest so easily. Because in Zambia, the debate over his body revealed more than grief. It revealed the fragile balance between truth and power, a balance that will define the nation's future. As the curtain falls on this chapter, one thing remains clear. In the story of Edgar Lungu, death was not an ending. It was the beginning of a battle over memory, over meaning, and over the truth itself.